What's going on? Okay. So just got back from the doctors
Oh,
and I received a diagnosis for ADHD and social anxiety
wow.
and general anxiety. So right now I'm gonna be prescribed, you know, like about 5 to 10 pills to take in the morning to offset that because simply just hearing those words and being able to link them into certain actions and behaviors that I'm experiencing, especially responses such as emotional responses.
Yeah.
And it's just a perfect match list. So right now, just gonna do the psych guy tells me to do.
Okay, I see. How's it
So
going
psych guy
on
tells
your
you you
end,
have the
Aziz?
anxiety, so now you label yourself as a person with the anxiety, social anxiety,
Exactly.
we should say. Yeah,
Nothing
yeah,
I can do about that now.
yeah. No,
Just gotta take the
absolutely not. Yeah,
pills.
yeah, exactly. I just take the pills, I guess. Yeah.
That's what happens a lot of times, as a matter of fact. And to be honest, not only it can be about the pills related to particular cases of whatever can happen to you, but also that can be coming in the non-pillable form, such as, for example, I might have some sort of negative event and I will be very upset about that. So, for example, I will go to the gym and I will not be able to lift a particular weight. Or I will go to a practice of jiu-jitsu and I will not be able to escape from a particularly skilled opponent's side control, for instance. And as to me, I would label myself in a particular way, maybe a loser. Or if, on the other hand, I achieve something good, I can label myself as such. No matter what it is still a label. So, those labels can bring about some very interesting results. So, what do we think?
It's really how I see it, right? What you're trying to say is, you go do something, you do well, you achieve it, you automatically put this label on yourself that like you're unstoppable, you're the best, you're amazing, you're incredible. And then let's
One
say
way?
you go like the next day and then you struggle. It's
Yeah.
not as easy. Let's say you fail, you lose, and then
Yes.
that's when you would call yourself a loser, failure, stupid, uh, worthless. But let's not get that far. I mean, but you know, we as human beings really have a tendency to really stick to strong labels in which we attribute ourselves to, whether they be good, whether they be bad, whether we call ourselves smart, dumb, active, lazy. At the end of the day, your words are like programs to a computer, right? What you tell yourself, what you label yourself, eventually becomes what you project yourself as.
Absolutely.
And this comes down to the deep meaning of, the world around you is nothing more but a reflection of yourself.
Oh
And
yeah.
when you say reflection of yourself, it's really a reflection of what you, number one, label yourself as or see yourself as, and then which then becomes a reflection of what you project to everyone, what you are. So I mean, if you want to be good, or like if you want the world to be a good place, you should just treat yourself good. You should just see yourself as good. You want the world to
Hmm.
be a sad, miserable, boring place, label yourself as that person, live that kind of lifestyle.
Exactly.
And it's crazy that you mentioned it because the expression food for thought, like you are what you eat, so is you are what you feed your mind. Consistently repeating, oh no, I'm a socially anxious person, I'm overthinking every social interaction. You just build that up over and over again. Same thing as eating junk food over and over again. You're
Yes.
gonna get fat. You're gonna get, high cholesterol. You're gonna get bad blood clots from eating junk food. And same thing for like mental thoughts, what you mentally feed yourself. And it's crazy because
Absolutely.
I had that experience too. I think we all had at some point. Some people just like to wear it as a badge and just say, look at it, here's me selling that part, which is wrong. Like, let's take social anxiety as an example. For so long, I've struggled with that issue where it's like I'm overthinking every social interaction. Like, oh no, like I'm gonna say this wrong, I'm gonna think that wrong. And the thing is, just doing it over and over again, it builds up, it adds up. It's a multiplier score that goes times two, times four, times eight.
Yes,
It's gonna keep repeating itself. And the
absolutely.
thing is, had I reached a point where I said, I have social anxiety, there's nothing I can do about it,
Okay.
then that's it. You're going to be stuck there. This is the mental roadblock you have set yourself. And what I really, really don't like is that now it's a selling point. Oh no, you have social anxiety. Take this pill that literally plays with the neurons in your brain and can mentally rehardwire you with sometimes literal amphetamines, such as cases for Adderall. It's literal amphetamines that just go straight into your brain and create you to be reliant on these substances rather than giving you a chance to overcome it yourself. And I
Yes.
know there's going to be people arguing, saying, oh no, you don't know. I have it harder. I have it rougher.
Yes.
I want to tell you a funny story, actually.
Ooh, okay.
It's what my mother said. When I was a kid, my mother thought I had like severe ADHD, literally not able to pay attention for like 3 seconds. Because at the early days of elementary school, I was just not paying attention.
Yes.
I'd look outside the window and be like, hoo, bird, wow.
Does happen.
Yeah. So we did this like this program thing where they tested my attention span through like different activities, different they had games, they had reading exercises. They had just so many ways to test your attention span if you truly have like a sort of attention deficiency.
Yes.
I remember my mother telling me like a few months ago saying, it turns out you had no issues with your attention. You just didn't like paying attention in school.
Okay.
And then it's like anything that you found boring. No, you were just an ass. You didn't pay attention. You just didn't like to.
Wow. Yeah.
Like,
So.
can you imagine if you gone to
Yeah.
young me and says, oh, you have ADHD, you have difficulty paying attention, you struggle paying attention, then I'm
Yes.
gonna grow up believing that. I'm gonna grow up reinforcing that.
Okay. Yeah.
And thankfully, they just left me be. And eventually, like, I started to pick what matters, pick what doesn't matter, and develop it myself over time and struggle through it.
Okay. Yeah, so that's one way to go about that, and I see how you mentioned, well, you encounter some sorts of situation and you put a particular label on it, right? So what I wanted to kind of like mention in this regard is that I can think about a day when, let's say, I wake up. For example, it is just a typical Monday, let's say, and then the day is going to be busy, there's going to be lots of activities. And then oftentimes, the labels, so as you have mentioned, can be put intrinsically, not intrinsically, but extrinsically, right? So by some other people, or by the doctors, for example, right? And whoever else it can be. But in other cases, oftentimes labels can be put intrinsically by ourselves. And then I remember, for example, last week, or pretty much any week lately, I was waking up and I was saying to myself, oh, I'm scared to wake up because there is going to be too many things to do, and lots of them are going to be, let's say, tedious. Some of them are going to be challenging, and I'm afraid of them. So maybe I'm afraid of sparring on Mondays during the like striking practice, right? I'm scared of some sort of, I don't know, fast and strong no-gi jiu-jitsu opponent. I'm scared to wake up early and then go for a run where I will maybe gas out at like 6:30 a.m. In the morning. So that's one kind of like label I was assigning to the day of Monday, and then it was a negative label, and then guess what? I felt very bad about that, right? So the things didn't go as planned. I was falling behind on the performance of those things which were planned for the day of Monday. And then overall, it proved to be a very kind of like bad day, let's say, right? Not very successful, not very satisfying. But at the same time, or that's what I did, I applied, once I woke up on Monday and I applied the positive labeling for the Monday. And I said, well, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be like very, let's say, good for building of myself day, for example. And all of a sudden, it became very easy to get out of the bed, go for a run, go to the gym, perform all the science meetings and consultations, and attend department seminars, and then train the sparring situations and no-gi practice. And it was very good, despite it was exactly the same Monday as it was the week before, except this Monday was not labeled in a negative fashion.
See, I love how you mentioned the fact of like how when it comes down to you having to face or confront certain things of the day, you tend to avoid
Right.
it because of the label that you're putting yourself to it, right?
That's one of the
And
obstacles.
based on the interactions I've had with people, like so like first example is right
Yes.
back in college I've had friends and whatnot, and then every time would be like presentation, like we had to either like present a project, homework assignment, anything. They would always be like, "Oh, I don't like presenting. I'm so bad at presenting. I'm very bad at presenting." Right? Like, no, like you're not bad at presenting. Like you haven't presented enough, right? And if you haven't done something enough, of course you're not going to be good at it. So rather than saying I'm bad at presenting, be like, "Oh, I need to work on being better at presenting."
Oh yeah.
And what way to do that? You just have to keep doing it. And then the funny thing is, like a couple of weeks ago at jujitsu practice, right?
Right.
There was this one guy. He's been there with us for like a month so far,
Okay.
right? And so like we were doing drills and whatnot, and then every time he'd do drills, like he was my drilling partner.
Yes.
Like the instructor would come like trying to be like, "Hey, like try doing it this way, that way, whatever."
Uh-huh.
And then he would like whisper to himself. He'd be like, "Gosh, I'm so bad."
Right, right.
Like, no, you're not bad. Like, number one, okay, of course you're bad because you haven't practiced it enough. Like, we're all bad at it, trust me. Why? Because we haven't done it enough. We're all beginners. But again, rather than saying, "Gosh, I'm so bad at it," be like, "Okay, I have to work on this." And as soon as you shift your mindset from like, I suck at this, I'm terrible at this, I'm no good at this, to these are things I can work on and improve on,
Yes.
that's how you, I guess, switch off the label that you
Yes.
give yourself towards like certain tasks, certain assignments, or anything.
Absolutely.
And that's how you overcome. So rather than giving yourself the victim mindset of, being like, you're no good at this, you're bad at this, or like, "Oh, I can't do this because my shoulder, oh, I can't do this because like, whatever, like, find ways around it.
Yes.
Because there are ways you can overcome obstacles. Like whether they be physical, whether they be mental. And if you do that, then that's what separates you from the average human being. That's what makes you amongst the, let's say, elite people.
Exactly.
Right? Because you found your struggle and then you found a way around it.
Yes. That is very true. So yeah, I also would like to add that when I found myself in this repetitive pattern of thinking negatively about whatever it can be, maybe yes, it is the practice of jiu-jitsu. Let's bring this example up once again. And then, for example, I was maybe in the situations when I just was not succeeding, right? And then I was just smashed by my opponents over and over again. And then it was very easy for me to subject myself to this negative pattern, and then every day I was going for jiu-jitsu, I was thinking negatively about my upcoming performance, my upcoming practice, and so on and so on. And guess what? So it's not just like one negative thought, one negative day that I had, right? So with those kind of like bad labels. It was a series of days. Then those days turned into months. And then in general, so if you think negatively about many different things in your life, then those kind of like negative labeling situations can become can just span like the years and like very long periods of time actually. So it's gonna be very easy to get into the slippery slope of negativity and then just kind of like derail your performance, not only, let's say, in sports, but in many other areas of life. So I just wanted to kind of like think about and kind of allude to the danger of this continuous negative labeling, and that's where I found myself. I literally found myself in the ditch, which was caused by the negative labeling, and then I had to work with really kind of like elevated levels of bad hormones for you, things like that, and then I was kind of like clinically, we might say, in this anxiety situation and depression situation and so on, because of this continuous negative labeling. Small things add up to like big trouble sometimes.
exactly. Like, and it comes, and really, like what you just said comes down to the first point that Wahab mentioned, how, like, food for thoughts. Like, sure, like we want to focus on eating healthy foods, but then we also want to focus on feeding our mind healthy thoughts. Like, we don't want to give ourselves intrusive negative thoughts. Why? Because we keep doing that. Like you said, those small thoughts, those small patterns just keep building up over time and building, and then it becomes no good. So rather than, if you change those and focus on like small progressive thoughts, be like, okay, I can, work my way around this by doing that. I can overcome this by doing that. I can progress by changing up this, so and so, that, whatever. Like, again, so changing from like, I can't, it's hard, from like, I can't do it, it's difficult to do, to being like, okay, what can I do there? How can I improve on it? How can I overcome this?
Exactly.
And that mindset alone, it's the solution. Like I know many people want the magic pill, or they
Yeah.
want the magic hormone, or whatever the hell it is. Like the thing is, when many people are like, I have severe social anxiety, I can't do it any other way. And then it's like, well, then don't do it any other way. Do it anxious, do it scared,
Okay.
do
Okay.
it terrified for your life. If that's what it takes to just simply do it. Like the
Yes.
second you find yourself, like we've all had this example where, let's say in school, work, or anywhere else where you had to give a presentation, if you, especially even if you haven't given that many, you feel a little bit anxious, scared, a little bit sweaty right
Yes.
before. And then when you're done afterwards, you just feel like, oh, thank God that's done.
Oh
Wow,
yeah.
this is over. And then next time you do it, it just gets easier and easier.
Yep. Yep.
The
Absolutely.
thing is, like, something that I find very, very destructive is that this form of labeling is now glorified.
Yes.
Like many people are saying to these labels that, oh, you need to take unnecessary medication for, because they've literally tried nothing else. They haven't done anything else to say, okay, I have an exercise I can do. Let's do breathing exercise, let's do physical exercise, let's do mental exercises even.
Oh yeah.
They've done none of those. Instead of me, they give me something I can take instantly to provide me an instant effect. And even, especially with ADHD, like that is so controversial because many people do have goldfish attention span, but
Yes.
that's just because these people are doing nothing to help build their attention span. Like, what's social media these days? You have these quick 10-second videos where people aren't even watching the full 10 seconds. They're just watching like 3 seconds and then instantly switching attention to something else. If you ask any of those people, when's the last time you read the book start to finish?
Oh yeah.
Or when's the last time you just sat down and read for half an hour, or 10 minutes without distracting, without looking at your phone every 2 to 3 seconds? They haven't.
Yeah.
Yet these people will instantly say, oh no, I have ADHD. Give me the pill. Gotta take it. Only way to fix it. And it's
Absolutely.
sad because I've seen people just completely like destroy themselves by taking pills for social anxiety, by taking like unnecessary ADHD medication when they didn't have to. Instead, it's just like, oh, I have no other hope but to do that. It's heartbreaking. Like you have
Absolutely.
people who I've seen change in the span of a few years, and their minds are just rotting
Okay.
to the point where that's it. It's just bad fruit.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So I should
Then
add
again,
that.
it comes down to, sorry, like it comes down to this,
Yep.
what you feed yourself. Like, if you
Yeah.
sit and you keep building up the habits of like watching these 10 to 30 second like either reels or TikToks,
Yes.
and like you don't even stick around and watch them for more than 30 seconds, of course, that's the kind of mindset and attention span you're gonna apply to lots of things. Like, rather than doing that, like, I guess you can, fix up these habits by, start by just spending like 15 to 20 minutes straight reading a book, listening to a podcast, watching, like an educational video.
Yes.
Start small and then slowly build up on these,
Exactly.
rather than putting yourself in like the position of being like, oh, I have a low attention span, oh, I have social anxiety, oh, I can't do these things. Like, just improve yourself. From there, you can work up to, I guess, substantial progress by taking small progressive steps. Sorry I cut you off, Olga. I know you were going to say something.
No problem. Yeah, so that is a great point. Actually, it kind of like is gonna merge even better with what I was thinking about. So yeah, we talked about how to overcome those kind of, let's say, challenges in which you are, right? That's what kind of USDs we're talking about. Consider the potentially negative situation which you kind of instantaneously label as negative. Consider that as a challenge that you can overcome, right? I would also say you can consider that maybe as a learning opportunity, right? So yeah, for example, okay, well, let's say I could not escape from somebody's good side control pressure at the practice of jiu-jitsu. So, and then instead of kind of saying, oh yeah, I'm a loser, so that's just a negative label, right? I'm so bad at the jiu-jitsu. I would just consider that as a learning opportunity. I will turn this failure into the lemonade or something along those lines, right? So, and then I will be like, okay, well, let's take some notes and think about how to improve next time, right? What I should adjust against this opponent to escape from their side control. And yeah, actually, if I want to succeed at that, then this broadening of the attention span will be very much helpful. Because if you think about that, the things that are worth in life oftentimes are not easy. So they require effort, they require continuous engagement, which is kind of akin to longer attention span. And then this engagement, succeeding at overcoming those challenges and being successful at lessons, being a productive student, right, of whatever it can be, chemistry or jiu-jitsu, you will need to have this longer attention span as one of the things. And kind of, I would say this is kind of the ability to concentrate, like sit at one place. That's what Wahab was talking about for like 15, 10 minutes, right? It's not going to be kind of taken maybe, 10 seconds. That's too short to succeed at something serious. So yeah, think about that and then try to kind of like merge those things. And then that's what I was doing in my case. Okay, when I had to succeed in something, maybe it was video editing, for example. I had to go from zero to some more or less acceptable level to publish the videos, right, online. Then yeah, I had to apply Project 50. Speaking of Project 50, shout out to the Germans here. So, and then over the course of 50 days, it was not just one day, it was 50 days. I had to sit down for 1 hour and work on the skill focusedly for 1 hour, not 10 seconds, not like 15 seconds or 1 minute, right? So, but it was a longer period of time, basically, where I had to concentrate, apply my attention, apply the effort, discipline, and all those kind of like things, in addition to the longer attention span. And that was the way for me to become successful, and I'm sure it's going to be applicable to many other skills in life.
Lovely points over there.
No, there's gonna be people coming after this video saying, you don't know what I've been through. You can't even understand my level of
Yes.
struggle. Like, you can't relate to it like I have. And my message to those is, everyone has been through this. The fact that you have your own uniquely tailored struggle storyline, like every other human being in the planet, it shouldn't be a point to make you special. In fact, it should be a point to make you stronger. And the thing is that unfortunately there are people that will use these labels as an excuse just to get attention. And it's very sad. They'll do nothing about it. They'll remain in a toxic behavioral response. They just say that anyone that responds or anyone that criticizes my labels just doesn't understand it, just can't even begin to imagine the level of struggle I've been through. And then they'll just keep throwing like bleak remarks back and forth and then just pile it up. And just everyone wants to see who has the bigger pile. And that's not the point of this. The point of this is to point yourself in the mirror and say, what can I do to make it better? Not, how can I use this as a way to get more views and clicks and attention and free sympathy from friends or family or whatnot. If that's your strategy and what you're gonna do, then honestly, good luck. Because it's not gonna be a good road to go down.
We live in a world where nobody's going to feel sorry if you're going to go through things, because everyone's going through things, right? Rather, you're going to get respect and admiration for pushing through and overcoming your struggles rather than, dwelling in them. So, I mean, yeah, like we all have our fair share of things that we go through. Some may be more extensive than others, but at the end of the day, like, there's no point in sitting and dwelling on it, right? Just overcome it, surpass it, find ways around it. Because everybody loves a good comeback story.
Consider negative situations as lessons and apply effort to work through them, learn something positive. That's why it is called life hacking, not life cruising. Keep hacking the life and achieve success.